best dressed guys we've had here. That is a cool signature.
I don't know.
Come on, you've been honing that signature. I know you have. Justin Verlander,
Good to see you,
welcome
Jason.
to Baseball Stories.
Thanks.
All right, look, we're going to start this with last August 31st, 2017.
All right.
Now, that was a big day. When you woke up that morning, could you ever have envisioned what was about to unfold that day and then those like 60 or 61 days that followed, wind up in Houston?
Wanted to officially announce the acquisition of Justin Verlander to the Houston Astros.
And you win the World Series.
Here's a ground ball right side, could do it. The Houston Astros are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
To be honest, no. You know, I had kind of, that morning, woke up and, you know, I had been in conversation with Al Avila, our general manager, and I knew that it looked like the prospects of me getting traded were pretty slim, and I was okay with that. We hadn't traded away any of our guys with the Tigers yet, and you know, I was kind of still holding out hope that we could be good the next year. And earlier that morning, following Twitter, I see that we had traded Justin Upton. So that to me was, you know, a huge red flag, kind of abandoned ship. And so I called Al and said, hey, what's going on? You know, what are my prospects? What's happening? And you know, he said, Justin, to be honest, it doesn't look like there's anything that's going to happen. So for me, mentally, I kind of shut down and just kind of was like, okay, well, let's finish out the season here and see what happens, and you know, try to finish strong.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
So, you know, that leads to later that night, just go out to dinner, kind of business as usual, a late dinner. And sure enough, I hadn't heard anything all day. Sure enough, my phone rings, and you know, it was Al saying, you've been traded to the Houston Astros. You need to decide whether you want to waive your no-trade clause. And that really caught me off guard because I had thought that nothing was going to happen.
What time was that?
11:25-ish, 11:20.
All right, so this deal got approved with like 15 seconds to go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what was that like, those last 35 minutes as you tried to decide?
It was a whirlwind. It was probably one of the most hectic, trying, emotional times in my life, especially in my career. You know, it was a very tough spot to be in. I'm someone who likes to gather a lot of information before I make a decision. I just like to have, I like to feel like I have all of the pieces of the puzzle put together before I say yay or nay to anything. And you know, so leading up to that, especially with having been told that the prospects look slim, I had really not had it in my mind, and I didn't think I should have it in my mind. I thought thinking about being traded would not allow me to do the best I could for the Tigers, which I was still representing the Detroit Tigers. So I was trying not to think about it, and never had I thought I would only have a short window to really come to a decision. I had thought I would at least have a 24-hour period or something. So, you know, now here I am in kind of a panic,
I bet.
really, you know. And so I just start making phone calls. I call my agent, I call everybody I can to try to gather information on Houston.
High fly ball to left field. Walk it off, George Springer.
I knew they were really good, but you know, I hadn't really dug into it. How do I fit in? You know, besides that, it's like, oh my gosh, they just had a hurricane 2 days ago.
Right.
What's the city like? They're playing in Tampa Bay. They can't even get back home. Is the stadium okay? Are we ever going to be able to play back at home? Am I going to be able to find a place to live? I mean, all this stuff running through my head, honestly went back and forth multiple times. You know, I think when it came to the baseball decision, it was kind of easy. If I were to take the emotion out of it and step back, you know, it was, like I said, it was kind of a red flag when J.Up got traded. And, you know, the opportunity to go to a championship caliber team seems easy, but with all of the history that I had there, you know, my legacy as a Tiger comes into effect. You know, I'm thinking about that, thinking about everything, trying to decipher whether I should say yes or no. And finally, it just came to a point where I kind of just came to a realization and said, screw it, I'm going to Houston. And my wife was there, and she's, you know, she has my back. And she's like, hell yeah. And that was, you know, that was the decision. So, I mean, really, once the decision was made, it was late. And I mean, late enough to the point where, in the building we were in, we were on the 4th story, and the elevator's kind of slow, like notoriously slow in this building. So we went to press the elevator button. The elevator wasn't on our floor. We went sprinting down the stairs Alaville, I had some of the team's representatives downstairs so I could sign the
They were
paperwork.
stalking you.
They were, yeah. So they were down there waiting, and we didn't have time to wait for the elevator. We went sprinting down the stairs.
Oh my God.
And I'm on the phone at the last second trying to negotiate getting my my option kicked off. I didn't have time to go through my agent, so I'm doing the negotiating on the phone while we're running downstairs, and
That's insane.
yeah, if with what ensued, obviously it was storybook, but I mean that decision in that moment in time with that short of time period was extremely difficult.
Do you ever play that what if game? Do you ever think to yourself, what if I hadn't said yes, what I would have missed out on?
No.
Good thing, right?
No, I mean, it's funny. It is weird to think of. I've been asked a lot of times, do you think about how it worked and what would have happened to the Astros? I hadn't really thought about the personal aspect of it. I don't know, man. It's I haven't really had time to sit down and think about that.
All right, let me ask you about it. I'll ask you this way. All right, you've done so much. Okay, you got a Cy Young, you got an MVP, you got a Rookie of the Year, you got 2 no-hitters. But what would you have missed out on if you hadn't done this?
I mean, I can't say I would have missed out on a World Series. I think there's a lot of things that was kind of eye-opening for me. Stepping into a completely new locker room amongst a bunch of guys that didn't know me at all was a refreshing experience, honestly. It was very different from everything I had experienced, where no matter who came up with the Tigers, they'd either heard stories about me or been around in spring training or whatever. Where now I'm stepping into a situation where these guys didn't know me at all. So that was interesting. The World Series obviously would have been something I think I would have looked back at the end of my career had I not won one. It would have obviously been a huge void, but I never viewed it as this isn't going to happen for me. It was always, okay, man, we didn't win it this year. Let's press forward to the next year. So, I think to answer your question, if this was my only shot to win one, thank God I said yes.
He missed the World Series parade because he was getting married in Italy. You're aware that the World Series had been scheduled before your wedding, right?
Yes.
Right down the middle strike. Brilliant. 12 strikeouts.
124 pitch complete game against the Yankees to basically save this season, and nobody had thrown a complete game in the postseason with that many pitches in 14 years. That was like a game out of a time warp, right? It's how guys used to approach postseason baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, does that kind of sum you up? I mean,
Yes.
you're out of that. Maybe you're out of another time.
You definitely aren't used to seeing that out of the Houston Astros, right?
That's
kind of
right.
The opposite.
Yeah, 2 times
theory.
through the order, no.
Right. I work hard for that. I think I was lucky early in my career. Leland, as an old school type manager, he told me one time when I was younger, he comes out to the mound and he goes, I got nobody better to come out of the pen than you right now. This is your game.
Yeah.
And that's the way he thought about it. And I was lucky to have a manager that allowed me to go deeper in the games, allowed me to throw more pitches, because that's what I've trained to do. I'm blessed to be able to still be strong at 120, 130 pitches. And so he allowed me to do that and allowed me to showcase that, really, so that now, 14 years down the road, when I come to the Houston Astros, I've kind of built this track record. So, everything led up to this situation. And, I'm thankful that AJ let me stay in the game. I'm thankful to be in the situation, and thankful to succeed. I mean, all the work I've put in since I was 5 years old, kind of culminates in those situations. And
That's cool.
I remember after that game was over, I came in the locker room. The whole locker room is going nuts, and I just had to take a minute and sat in my chair and just kind of put my hands on my head and just kind of sat there for a minute. And
Wow.
I'm just so mentally exhausted. Physically was okay, but the mental exhaustion was just next level. And that kind of that moment kind of sticks out to me as a shining moment in the postseason. Just kind of like I've given everything I got and came out successful to help our team advance. It doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, is there another moment that still runs in the DVR in your mind
Yes.
from that postseason?
When we won, I've never run out of the bullpen in my life.
That's right, you're in the pen.
I was in the pen to finish Game 7, and Charlie is just shoving. So me and Dallas are down there in the pen talking to the guys. I don't even know what to do. I'd never been in the pen to finish a game, so I'm down there talking with Dallas. Like, the phone would ring, and I'm like, I hope they're not calling for us because Charlie is mowing. Just let him go, and they did. And so it gets down to where we're just counting outs. And now we get to the 9th inning, and we got 3, 2. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. What am I going to do? So we get the final out, comes sprinting in from right field corner. And that moment to me, keeps replaying. I'm running next to all my teammates from the bullpen. I took a quick glance around the stadium and just sprinting in to meet all of my teammates out there on the mound. And here we are, World Series champions. I kind of got that like slow motion, like I'm dead sprinting, but so giddy with joy. It's just, it was a very surreal experience, and that moment keeps replaying.
Wow, I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Me too.
It's like you're living a scene out of a movie.
That's exactly what it felt like.
And how did you enjoy the World Series parade? Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right, I wasn't there.
Yeah. Is that the greatest excuse ever for missing a World Series parade?
I think it has to be. Any other excuse doesn't really fly.
Yeah, he missed the World Series parade because he was getting married in Italy.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, you're aware that the World Series had been scheduled before your wedding, right?
Yes. Yes, I was aware of that. It had been scheduled a year before. And honestly, like when we were scheduling it, it's like there's only one thing that could really screw it all up, and that's Game 7 of the World Series. So, when we're playing, it's like, do we have to go to shot to go to the World Series? Yeah. I mean, what are the odds it really goes all the way to 7? We'll be fine. Sure enough, here we are, and we were getting FaceTime calls before Game 7. From our guests that were already in Italy saying, your wedding's great, wish you were here.
Because everybody else was there.
Everybody was already there except for me.
Can they hold the wedding without you?
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe if my wife was there, but she was with me, so they had to wait for us.
Right. You got to walk me through this now. All right, you win the World Series. I'm guessing you celebrate a little bit afterwards. Right?
Celebrate a lot.
And I probably shouldn't even say that you had to get on a plane to Italy when you woke up, because you might not even have gone to sleep. So how did all that happen?
So woke up, planned, obviously after partied pretty good. I planned it, honestly, to stay awake pretty late because we had to sleep because we were going to lose a whole day. So we had to sleep on that plane ride the next day.
Yeah.
Fly to Italy, get up first thing in the morning, not feeling great, obviously.
Why would that be?
Yeah, right. So hop on the plane, fly straight to Rome. Kate had her final dress fitting in Rome that morning. So
wow.
This is Friday we get to Rome, and the wedding's on Saturday. So get to Rome, she does her dress fitting. We then take her dress in this, like, Mercedes. She's in the back of it, like, you can't even see her, and I'm not supposed to look anyway, so I'm trying not to look, and then we hopped on a helicopter to our venue. It was a mess. It was very hectic, but wouldn't have it any other way now. It was so storybook, to win Game 7, to fly straight to Italy and get married, and with all of our closest friends and family. It was a reasonably small wedding, and it was just to kind of continue the celebration. It was pretty incredible.
I guess my invitation got lost in the mail, huh?
You didn't get that?
No, I never saw it. I'm a little disappointed.
Sorry.
It's okay. Jim Thome made the Hall of Fame,
yes.
And you tweeted, "You're welcome." That's what you tweeted at him.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
The Houston Astros are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
What knowledge, what data, what have they given you that has enabled you to pitch the way you have since you became an Astro?
Well, I think what kind of goes overlooked is I was pitching pretty good before I got traded.
Oh, you really were?
There's a lot of information that they can give you, and I had kind of bought into that when I was hurt with Detroit, 2013, 2014.
Yeah, this is when you had the core injury.
Right. Well, I had the core injury in the offseason of 13. My arm started hurting in 13 because of it, but I didn't really know yet what was wrong.
Yeah.
Had surgery in the offseason 13, and then all of 14 was just a grind. So I needed to try to find every competitive advantage that I could during that time period. I couldn't just rely on my stuff anymore. And so at that time, Brad Ausmus called me in his office and questioned some of my pitch selections. Not in a bad way. I mean, obviously, I took offense to it because I'm somebody that prides myself on being prepared in every way. And I said, Brad, respectfully, I said, we can go over any pitch that I threw, and I'll tell you why I threw it and what the pitches were before and what I was planning on throwing after. And he said, well, okay, if that's the case, he goes, I apologize. He goes, but I just think you don't have the data you need then. And so that was, for me, an eye-opening experience. I was like, okay, well, what should I be looking at? And he showed me some stuff that he used to do when he caught and preparing for hitters. And that's how it kind of all got started for me, diving into some more numbers, I guess more analytic scouting type stuff. And so, like I said, I needed that then. And then so take that knowledge, start to get healthy again, and combine them. And I feel like that's when things kind of started blossoming for me. And then by the time I got here, I kind of had an idea what I was looking for, but now I went to the team that's probably at the forefront of it. And so I've got all this, I'm inundated with all this new information, and I'm trying not to take away my instincts and my baseball feel. I've been throwing a baseball since I'm 5 years old. You got to trust those instincts a lot, but you can also have analytic data to back up and kind of reaffirm some of your decision making.
Right. All right, let's do some fun stuff. You never ice, right? You don't ice your elbow, you don't ice your shoulder?
If you see me icing, I'm hurt. Something's wrong.
Why don't you ice? How come everybody else ices and you don't ice?
I don't know. There's two different viewpoints, and I just never iced. I don't see the need for it. I think ice is for injuries. I think, for me to recover, I want as much blood flow as I can. So there's conflicting reports one way or the other.
True.
But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I've never iced, and my arm usually feels pretty good. So kind of stick with that.
Got it. Okay. Mike Trout, 2 for 20 against you coming into this season.
He got him, strike 3. Trout caught looking.
What's up with that?
I don't know, man. He's one of the best, if not the best players in the game right now, besides the guy we got on our team. So
yeah.
I can't, that's a question for him. I really hope you don't bring the attention to that to him, because you kind of let sleeping giants lay.
So we
right?
need to wipe this scene right out of this.
Yeah, just don't. Let's not even talk about it.
Because nobody could possibly know those numbers if they didn't watch it here.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's aware, but
yeah.
I think guys like him that step in the box, you just have to take it to another level. I think everyone's aware that one mistake is the difference between life or death, in a big situation with him. He's so talented, and I think since he's come in the league, I think you're seeing, I've noticed some changes he's making in his approach, and I think he's becoming a tougher and tougher out, as crazy as that is to say, especially over the last couple of years. He's kind of really turned it on. Not that he wasn't, obviously he was already great before, but you see him maturing as a baseball player, and with all the talent that he already had.
Right, no doubt. Jim Thome made the Hall of Fame.
You have no idea what it means to me to be able to come to New York as a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes. And you tweeted, "You're welcome." That's what you tweeted at him.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
All the homers I gave up to him. Him and I had a little rapport before that. After he got his 500th homer.
Ball hit deep. Way back. Number 500 for Jim Thome.
I got a call. We shared a mutual agent, and I got a call from my agent saying, "Hey, Jim wants to know if you can take a joke." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So I'd kind of forgotten about that. Next thing you know, a couple weeks later, this tube comes in to my house, and I open it up, and it's a bat from Jim Thome, and he had signed it to Justin. "Thanks for all the help." Jim Thome, 500 home runs. So thus, once he gets to the Hall, you're welcome.
That's a great tale.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite pieces of memorabilia. It's fantastic.
That is awesome. All right, well, speaking of social media, you're probably as active on social media as any star in the game. And this winter, this spring, you actually you took on Major League Baseball.
Sensitive subject.
It is. I bet it is a sensitive subject, because you told Major League Baseball basically that they had lied to you about whether the baseballs were different
just
than
me.
they'd been in the past.
They didn't just lie to me. Everybody got the same letter in their locker.
They did.
Yeah. So.
Have you heard from anyone
No.
since you really?
Nope. Sure haven't.
No kidding.
I think they just kind of don't want to talk about it. So. Like I said everything I need to say. I said I just don't like being lied to. If the balls are if they've changed the way they make them and they're still within guidelines, which is kind of what I think happened, but you know they're more consistent, but they're a little jumpier. So be it. It's fine by me. But don't tell me that they're the same as they were. I know guys that have been around the game for a while, especially pitchers, you can tell a difference. It just is. It just is different. So don't tell me it's not when clearly it is. And you know that's my only issue.
Called third strike.
You know, you told me last spring that you want to go to the Hall of Fame, and you don't mean you want to buy a ticket at Cooperstown sometime. You want to get there. Now, it feels like it's taboo in this game to actually say that stuff out loud. Did you not get that memo, that unwritten rule book?
I didn't get that memo. I think why not talk about it? I think that's something I've dreamt of since I was a kid. You know, it's baseball immortality. It's what every player wants. So I'm just saying what's true. I mean, right. and I don't by any means say that I'm there or I need to do this or I need to do that. It's not like that's what I'm fighting for. It's not like I'm saying I need to do this to get to the Hall of Fame.
I get it.
It's kind of like the end of the tunnel, and hopefully by the end of my career when I hang them up, I can have accrued enough numbers to even be considered.
Well, you also told me last spring that you had two goals: win a World Series and get to the Hall of Fame. Well, if you're as efficient about knocking off number 2 as you were at number 1, I like your chances. Justin Verlander, thanks for joining us.
Man. Appreciate it.